Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope your day is going wonderful. Thank you so much for joining me. Today I have some super fun projects to share with you, and I'm excited to announce that I'm a guest designer over at the Sunny Studio blog. If you want to head on over there and check out the blog post that coordinates with the projects we're creating today. We're going to be using some new items that I fell in love with. We have the Woolen Mittens Die Set. This is a nice shaped card that will fit on an A2 panel, but it will also create kind of its own card base. So I thought we would make a shaped card with this. And then we're also going to be creating an A2 card using the super fun and super cute Holiday Hugs stamp set. This stamp set is adorable because this little bear can be holding a lot of elements for winter, for even you have a cupcake for every day, you have heart for Valentine's Day, cocoa for winter, and then you can also customize the sentiment. You have holiday and hugs and a pretty scripty font, and then you have winter sending greetings, warmest and wishes. And then we're going to create a tag also, a super fun tag with this. This die is extra. I do have the coordinating die set that will cut out this images, and the die set is super special, and I'll show you what I mean by that when we create our card. We're going to first create a shaped card using the Woolen Mittens die set. Now, to create my shaped card, I have a sheet of 8.5 by 11 cardstock. I already scored it right down the middle, so I scored it at the 5.5 inch mark. I'm just going to fold it in half. I'll use my bone folder. We'll reinforce that score line. And then I'm going to take my mitten, and I'm going to place it on my panel here, and I'm going to place it to where the cut line on the very top is overhanging slightly. Okay, I will tape this down and I will run this through my die cut machine. And then while we're die cutting, I'm also going to die cut out the rest of my elements. I'm going to be using some inks to color in my mitten today. So I'm going to bring in white cardstock, and we have the top of the mitten here, and there's debossed detail, and then we have a cute little stitched scalloped edge. I'll die cut that out. We're going to die cut out lots of snowflakes. I'm going to create a snowflake mitten, and then I love the buttons in here. We'll die cut out all 3 of these, and also we're going to die cut out 3 of the holly leaves. There's 2 in here. One goes to the left, one goes to the right, and we'll die cut out 1 more with this. So lots of snowflakes, the holly leaves, buttons, and then I'm going to bring in a die set. This is the Sunny Studio Stitched Arch die set. I want a tag also for my my card today. And we'll die cut out the smallest archway that has a little hole in it. So it's a little tag. We'll die cut this out also. And I'm going to take this after I run my, this will be 2 layer, so this will be my card base, but I'm going to create 1 more layer with the mitten with white cardstock. So I have a little bit of die cutting to do. When I'm all done, we're going to put together a mitten. Everything is die cut, and I did create a little tag with the smallest stitched arch. I just put an eyelet here and then threaded some white twine through there. And I do want to mention that I also die cut out some of those stitched pieces. I'm not sure if we'll use these or not, but I thought maybe we'd add some stitch detail to our mitten also. Now, what we're going to do is do a little bit of ink blending. I have some inks over here. And I thought we would create a soft teal colored mitten with a little bit of blue. And I'm going to use my blending brushes for this. So we will add a little bit of ink here. And since this part up here is going to be covered, but I do want a little bit of blue underneath it. So I'm going to go ahead and add some color to the very top. And we will go around the edges. I'm going to go in with a little bit of my blue ink, and we're going to add some blue as well. I like combining these two colors. I'm going to put this off to the side. We're going to take the cuff of our mitten. I'm going to go ahead and add some blue ink to this. I love that there's debossed detail on here. And the cuff of our mitten is done. I'm going to use my green ink, and we're going to add a little bit of color to our holly leaves. And for our buttons, we're going to be bringing in a purpley pink color, and we're going to go over our buttons. So our ink blending is all done. I'm going to put this off to the side, and then I'm going to do something special to my mitten. We're going to take our mitten panel. This is not our card base. This is our card base here, but I am going to emboss this using the Sunny Studios Quilted Hearts embossing folder. I'm just going to add this, and I will run this through my die cut machine for a little bit of texture. So we have some pretty texture on our mitten. Now I'm going to take this, we're going to add some adhesive behind it, and we're going to tack this down to the front of our card base. Now we're going to add the cuff of our mitten. We need to turn it over. I'm going to add some adhesive to the very bottom, and we are going to tack some scalloped edge to this. And then I'll add a little bit more adhesive, and we're going to tack this down to our card here. I'm going to go ahead and take those stitched little pieces. You could use the positive or the negative of the stitched pieces, but I want to use the positive. And what I'm going to do is add some stitch detail along the bottom here. I placed little dots of glue on the cuff of my mitten here, and now we're going to place our stitched. We're going to place them right next to each other to create some stitched detail. I did end up going all the way to the edge, and there is a little bit of a gap there, but no worries, because that's where our holly will cover that little gap. We have our buttons, and I'm going to take some white twine. I'm going to thread my buttons. The nice thing about the buttons is the holes are big enough to where you can thread it, which is really nice. I went ahead and placed a knot on the back of my button. I'm going to secure it with a foam square, small foam square, and then we're going to trim away that twine. I can actually use that twine for the rest of our buttons. And I'll do the same thing to these two buttons. My buttons are all good, and now we're going to go ahead and add our snowflakes. I'm going to add some glue, and I'm going to fill in our mitten background with our snowflakes. Let's see. I think I'm going to start by tucking one of the snowflakes under here. The first one I tucked under here, and then we'll just continue filling in our background with our snowflakes. We have a snowflake filled mitten. I'm going to go ahead and take my tag. We're going to stamp our sentiment on here, and I'm going to be using our Holiday Hugs stamp set. I'm going to stamp Winter Greetings. I'm going to remove the release paper off of my foam tape that we adhered, and I'm going to add it to my tag here. I'm going to add another foam square. If you don't like all this dimension, you can always skip out on the foam tape. But I'm going to add my sentiment to this tag here, right towards the bottom. And then the leftover twine that's hanging over, I'm going to use a glue dot, and we're going to secure that. Let's scoot it over just a little bit. And we will secure that twine up in that corner, and then I'll trim away the excess. Using the same twine that we used for our tag, I double tied a bow, and I'm going to add that bow here up in this corner. Then I also created a bow with some white ribbon, and I thought we would adhere this over the twine. You could use either or, but sometimes when you add them both together, it just creates a real nice softness. And I'm going to go ahead and trim the tails of my ribbon here. Okay, we have our holly leaves and our buttons left. Let's go ahead and adhere our holly leaves. I'm going to use some small foam squares. We'll just add one to the very base of the holly. There is a gap here in the foam. You can see the foam square, but I'm not worried because we're going to cover that with our buttons. Let's add all three. We went ahead and placed our buttons in the center of that bow, fluffing up our holly leaves. And then to finish this off, we need a little bit of shine. For that, I'm going to bring in some pearls, and I thought we would add some pearls to the center of each of the snowflakes. This will get extra dimension and add extra softness too. And that will finish off my mitten shaped card using the Woolen Mittens Die Set. Now we're going to jump into our A2 size card. We're going to start by doing our stamping. I have my stamping positioner, and we're going to stamp our bear. I'm not sure, the bear can be holding something, so I'm not sure if I want a cupcake or a cocoa or even a present. So I'm going to stamp all of them, and we will have extra. Okay, let's go ahead and ink up our images with our black ink. We'll stamp our cute little images. And the nice thing is the bear's cute on its own. He could basically be holding anything. And then all of these images are cute on their own also. So it's a nice versatile stamp set. While we have our stamping positioner out, I'm also going to take another piece of white cardstock, and we're going to stamp Holiday Hugs. Okay, I'm going to use my Copic markers, and I will color in my images, and I will be right back. My images are colored in. I'm just taking the coordinating die set, and we're going to die cut out all of our images, and I'm going to share with you something special that you can do with this bear. I'm going to run this through my die cut machine, and I'll be right back. I ran everything through my die cut machine, and I also, you can see here, I cut out some foam to go behind my sentiments. We're going to pop these up. So there's our bear and all of our elements the bear can hold. Now in the coordinating die set, you have this piece. This piece you line up here on the bear's arms if you want to. You just line it up very simply. You tape it. I'm going to tape down. I will go ahead and tack this down. And I'm going to run this through my die cut machine. Now what this does is it creates cut lines, and your bear, how cute is this, can hold any of, oh how that's cute. It can hold any of your stamped images. So it can have some hot cocoa. I mean, I think they're also cute. It has a cupcake. And of course there's a stocking in the stamp. Look how cute the cupcake is. So it could be holding all kinds of things. But I think I like the present the most for my card today. I think we're going to have our teddy bear holding our present. And we can save this for another card. But isn't that super fun? I'm going to go ahead and adhere my foam to my greeting. Just add some glue to the very top. So we have a little bit of dimension to our sentiment now. If you don't have foam, what you could do is you could just die cut out white cardstock and stack it maybe 3 times to get a little bit of dimension for your sentiment. Okay, we're going to put this over to the side and create our background. I'm going to bring back the Stitched Arch die set. I'm going to take the largest one. The nice thing about this die set is it is double stitched. So it'll stitch the positive and the negative, which is really nice. I'm going to take some white cardstock and we are going to die cut out an archway. And then I'm also going to take the Sunny Studio Icing Borders Die Set. And I'm going to die cut out this middle icing border here. I kept mine together. You can always separate it, but I'm going to die cut this out also with some white cardstock. So I have my 4 borders. I have my archway here, and then I also used a stitched tailside border die, and I created a snowbank with it, and then I used that same archway and cut out that curve of the bottom here, so when you layer them it's the same. Okay, I'm going to, and then we have our card base, our standard A2 size card base. I'm going to open up my card base here. I'm going to open up my card base. I'm going to add some post-it note tape. And then I'm going to use some of the same inks that we used for our first card, and I'm going to ink blend around the edges here. For this card, I'm going to use my teal around the edges. Now I do this because I left my icing border white, and if we have shading around our card base, that the icing is just going to pop against it. So I ink blended the edges using my teal ink. And then I'm going to add a little bit of blue on my archway with my blue ink. Okay, so we have blue on our archway and teal on our card base. I'm going to remove my post-it note tape, and then we are going to go ahead and take our border. I'm going to add a thin bead of glue behind here, and I'm going to create a frame with it, about a 1/4 inch on the left and the right, like so. And I'll just use my glue to glue that down. Our border is adhered. Now I'm going to add my snowbank. I'll use some foam squares at the very bottom, and then I'm going to go ahead and use my glue and add it to the arch of up, because this is where we're going to add our bear here. I'm going to place my bear inside of that archway, and then I'm going to add that snowbank to the bear. So my hands don't smush during the mail, I am going to put a small foam square behind each of my bear's arms here. This gives it even more dimension, and I know it won't smush during shipping. How cute is this? I just love this. I'm going to take my panel, we're going to place it in the middle of our card. I'm going to use my glue. And I'll add my holiday hugs on that snowbank here. Now in our stamp set, we have some snowflakes. I'm going to use one of the smaller ones. And we're going to add some snowflakes in our background also. I do want to add a little bit of sparkle to the bow on my present. And I'll bring in my diamond Stickles. So we have some sparkle. And that will finish off that card. Now we're going to jump in and create a tag. For my tag, I'm using the same archway. I die cut this out, but I am going to emboss this using the Sunny Studios Lots of Dots embossing folder. I thought this would be a great little way to put some snowball in the background. So I'll run this through my die cut machine, and then we're going to do a little bit of ink blending. I'll use my blue ink, and we're going to add some color to this tag, going around those edges. Wonderful. And you can see I colored in another one of those bears, and I die cut out his arms. Okay, we're going to go ahead and put an eyelet, and I'm going to thread some ribbon through our tag. As I tie my bow, I want to mention that I also die cut out some holly leaves and one more button using our Woolen Mitten Die Set, you can see here. And then I threaded it with some white twine. And then I ink blended the edges of that also. Okay, let's trim down our ribbon. And then I remove the release paper. We'll add our bear. And I didn't put any, again, no foam behind his arms, just around the other areas. We're going to add our bear to the tag. It fits this archway beautifully. So we have our holly leaves there at the very top. And then I'm going to add my button. I think I'm going to need a larger foam square. I'll just remove the release paper here, and we'll add our button to our tag, and then I will trim the tails of these also. I thought we would add a little bit of white to the bottom of our bear. So I die cut out the swirly strip from our icing borders, and I'm going to add this to the very bottom right below my bear, just to kind of ground my bear. And we will just go ahead and add some glue here. I'm going to trim away the excess with my scissors. So our icing, we have an icing border at the very bottom. And then I did put some foam tape behind my cupcake. You could add the cupcake, and that just creates the cutest little tag. But what's nice is the bear's like the perfect size to be holding a little piece of candy. So I went through my candy jar and I found some candies. Ideally, what I think would be great for this are those little Hershey miniature candies, the little small bars. I have one of these mints. If I fold in the edges, he could be holding the mint. Let me show you. Like, wouldn't that be the cutest little tag? I just think that's really cute. Or really any kind of small candy. You would just put, let me show you. Let me grab a glue dot. Tack down a glue dot behind here. Even a peppermint would be cute. I put a glue dot behind my candy, and then this way you can slide it between his hands here. And he can be holding a mint. I mean, how cute is that? And so our little bear is holding a candy. How cute is that? He can be holding a mint. He could be a candy cane, would just be just adorable. I just love this. I'm going to go ahead and highlight my little bear's nose. And then I'm also going to bring in some of my black enamel dots. And just to make, and then to make my bear's eyes pop a little bit more, I'm going to replace them with a black enamel dot. And I'm going to do that on this card also. Just so they stand out. And those are my projects today for Sunny Studio. We have a shaped card, we have a regular A2 size card, and we have a candy tag. Super fun, super adorable. I hope you get a chance to check out the Holiday Hug stamp set and also the Woolen Mittens Die Set. And there's lots more to this new release too, so I hope you get a chance to check it out. I'll leave a link down below. Have a great day. Thanks for joining me. We will see you soon. Bye-bye.